Good morning, and thank you for joining us this Juneteenth, a day that commemorates the emancipation of enslaved Black Americans. I'm Christina Martinkosky. I serve as a historic preservation planner for the City of Frederick. I am honored to be here today because it represents the first step of a larger city initiative to explore the history and sites associated with enslavement. The origins of Juneteenth is traced to June 19th, 1865, more than 2 years after President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, when the Union Army arrived to Galveston, Texas, and announced the end of the Civil War, and the enslaved people of that town learned of their freedom for the first time. That same year, 1865, over 3,000 people gathered in Frederick for the first celebration of emancipation. It was the beginning of a decades-long tradition, and it also marked the formation of an important civic organization, the Frederick Emancipation Association, a group that not only organized these large, grand celebrations, but fostered educational and vocational training to the community it served. Today, 159 years later, we unite here, together, in front of 160 West All Saints Street, the historic headquarters of the Frederick Emancipation Association, to recognize the important part of our local history. The City of Frederick recently received 2 grants from Preservation Maryland and the Maryland Historic Trust to support new research on sites associated with enslavement. In partnership with the Frederick African American Resources Cultural and Heritage Society, we hope to start to close the gap in scholarship. Now, although this project is in its infancy, we hope that through this process, new stories will be revealed, resulting in a deeper understanding of our local history, starting with the Emancipation Association building. Today's marker serves as a prototype of future interpretive efforts. It includes the work of local artist Yemi Fagbon and the historic context written by historian and author Michelle D. Wright. A QR code is embedded into the marker, and it provides visitors with a deeper historic context through a short video produced by the City of Frederick. Joining us in our brief ceremony today is Dr. Cheryl Gooch, Executive Director of the Frederick Arch Society, 2 members of the 54th Massachusetts Infantry Regiment, and Robert L. Ford and Kelly Washington, and of course our own Mayor Michael O'Connor. I want to provide Dr. Cheryl Gooch a warm welcome. In addition to serving as the Executive Director of the Frederick Arch Society, Dr. Gooch has extensive experience in historic research, cultural heritage, and museum education. She has authored numerous articles and 2 books, Hensonville's Heroes, Black Civil War Soldiers of Chester County, Pennsylvania, and and Africa's Lands, The Forgotten Stories of 2 Lincoln-educated missionaries in Liberia. Please welcome Dr. Cheryl Gooch.
President Abraham Lincoln described the Emancipation Proclamation of January 1st, 1863 as, quote, a necessary war measure for suppressing, end quote, the Confederate rebellion. The Emancipation Proclamation, colleagues, freed Americans held in bondage in states in rebellion against the Union, with some exceptions. The President proclaimed, I do order and declare that all persons held as slaves within said designated states and parts of states are, and henceforward, shall be free, and that the executive government of the United States, including the military and naval authorities thereof, will recognize and maintain the freedom of said persons. The Emancipation Proclamation of 1863 also provided for the formation of the United States Colored Troops, said our beloved emancipator president. I further declare and make known that such persons of suitable condition will be received into the armed service of the United States to garrison forts, positions, stations, and other places, and to man vessels of all sorts in said service. Thereafter, General Order Number 143 established what became known as the United States Colored Troops, or USCTs. USCTs, United States Colored Troops. More than 200,000 men of African descent enlisted, among them more than 8,000 Marylanders, and they included more than 400 from our beloved Frederick County. 6 African-American Maryland soldiers received the Medal of Honor, our country's highest award for military valor in action, including First Sergeant Decatur Dorsey from Howard County, for whom a barrack at Fort Detrick is named. African-American Civil War veterans returned to or settled here in Frederick County and likely participated in those wonderful annual emancipation celebrations held here. So let's remember these patriots who served as agents of emancipation, who reunified our beloved country under one flag and liberated 4 million Americans held in bondage. So think emancipation, exclamation point, and Juneteenth. But first and foremost, emancipation, emancipation, emancipation. Thank you.
We're old, weary soldiers. Our battles are over. Our footsteps are feeble, we're nearing the shore. We're slowly and surely approaching the crossing. A little while longer and all will be over. When my comrades and I pass through the dark valley, will you still be faithful? Will you remain true? When the graves mark the spots where the soldiers are resting, remember, we saved this great union for you.
Good morning, everyone. It really is refreshing to see such a big crowd come out on a warm holiday to mark this important occasion. It's an important day for both our nation, as Dr. Gooch has outlined, but it is as important for us here in the city of Frederick as we unveil this marker for emancipation of Black people in our community. I want to acknowledge the presence of Alderman Kelly Russell and Alderman Derek Shackelford, who are here this morning. Thank you. And we had a briefing last night that involved many of the people who are operating cameras and setting up tents and taking pictures last night, and here they are turning it around on a Wednesday morning to do it all over again. And so I want to give a tremendous shout out to our communications team, our audio-visual group, and our historic preservation planners and our planning staff for bringing all of this together for our community today. Almost nothing that I get to do alone, which is why this job is so great. For many years, communities very similar to ours, have prided themselves on their historic fabric and the charm and the history of their communities. But I think what we know, and we've done a better job of this more recently, is that history has been incomplete. We have not told the full story, and we're only now beginning to recognize how important it is that we tell a complete story. But today is also a celebration, because it is an opportunity to celebrate the freedom that has been won and the accomplishments that have been made. We are here today to honor resilience and to honor strength and to honor the spirit of people who endured hardships so unimaginable, I'm not sure that anyone today could ever really understand what enslaved Americans went through. So it's an opportunity for us to remember, to remember, but it is a sign of hope and the opening of a new chapter for Black Americans in Frederick and all across our country. When we see these markers, it's a chance for us to celebrate and to honor all those who have fought for justice and for equality, who continue to fight for justice and equality, and to acknowledge that our efforts have to continue if we are to achieve that better future for all. Because in the end, the bonds that unite us will always be more important than the things that separate us. And that is where our strength really comes from, and an acknowledgement today that we missed so much opportunity to build on the strengths of so many for so long. But it is not too late if we start today. The marker is more than just a symbol, it is that, but it is a tangible opportunity for us to educate and to raise awareness about our history for us and for future generations, so that we can really understand where we have come from and where we need to go. So I am delighted that the city could play a small part in bringing this opportunity to our community. And as Christina said, it is a first step, but it is not the final step. We have a long way to go, and the City of Frederick is poised to stand arm in arm with everyone who wishes to move together and tell that shared, full, and complete story of our community and every community within our community. Thank you all very much for being here today and being a part of this celebration.